7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Through Black and White Eyes. Bloody awful day, isn't it? Just been out and it flooded everywhere. Unbelievable. I've been having a few issues the day. I've just seen some flickering lights and the internet's been going on and off at times. So if I have any problems, then that's why you know what it is. But I'm still waiting for Steve to turn up. But we will obviously get on with the show. Obviously, everybody's favourite guest. Hi all, Baz and guests. Yeah, Baz is working tonight, or he's trying to avoid Steve, one of them two. Not sure, but he's put a shift in. I mean, when I knew I was doing the show, I thought, oh, great. And then I looked at what we were playing Palace, and I thought, oh, God. Anyway, hi all, Baz and guests. Evening to yous. Evening all, hit them like, subscribe and enjoy. Yep, helps the channel out massively. Evening all, anybody watching the game, the Dortmund game, I've actually got it on, yes, because I wanted to see what they were like. I've only had it on 5 minutes, looks all right so far. But evening, Gary mate, hello all. What's the score? 0-0. Evening all, evening to you too, and hit the likes and subscribe and share to your socials. Yeah, exactly. Obviously, don't forget to have a look at our amazing sponsors, Diet Crow Shop, as well. They do some quality merchandise. And don't forget to use Baz20 for 20% off. Honestly, have a look. They do some quality merchandise. What I'm going to do is, obviously, I'm still waiting for Steve. This is a subject that I'll bring up now because I didn't really want to discuss it much tonight. Me and Baz will probably do a show on it at some point, but it's obviously this. Sandro Tonali, Eddie Howe on Sandro Tonali. He's had a very, very difficult couple of weeks and he's been dealing with a lot. From what I can see, he's handled himself really well and dealing with his emotions strongly, but I'll have to make a call. I have to bring it back to football and what he's delivering on the pitch to try and make the best decision for the team. For me, the most important part of this whole incident is Sandro and his welfare. We feel, as a football club, straight away, it was to throw our arms around him, protect him, to give him the love and support he needs to find solutions to the problem he has. He's trained twice this week with us, and he's very much available for selection. Obviously, this is a look ahead at Palace. I didn't want to go on about Tonali much. I wanted to start it straight away. So, obviously, Eddie Howe backing him, superb man management from Eddie once again. I would definitely class Eddie Howe up there with the Sir Bobby Robson management, without a doubt, man manager. As for Sandro Tonali, we just need to support him. Addiction's horrendous. Doesn't matter what it is, and he's been backed by a lot of people this week, including Paul Merson, who suffered from it himself, and we just need to back him. I was shocked when I heard he could be playing, because for all we know next week, he could have a big ban, for all we know. Maybe, my inkling is I thought Eddie would only play him if he was 100% ready to play. Otherwise, Eddie wouldn't put him in, because that's the way Eddie works. Or maybe Eddie's thinking support of the crowd might lift Sandro Tonali's spirits. It might do. And the crowd are going to get behind him. And I'll tell you what I'd like you to do, though. Let me know in the comments, right? Would you start Sandro tomorrow? Would you bench him, or would you have not played him at all? Just purely based on the fact that we don't know how he's going to be. we don't. It's something that, I mean, I'm just going off what I would be like if I was going to miss football for a long time. I would be gutted. Now, it is what it is, but let me know in the comments. I don't want to go on about it too much. What you think? Would you play him, bench him, or not play him at all? Oh, hang on. You said Steve. Thought you meant Andy. No, he's apparently he's late sometimes, but it's all right. It's fine because I can talk for England. I bring him on towards the end, last 10 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised. I think part of this, like I've just said, is purely Eddie wanting to give him support from the crowd, just to hear the crowds behind him. Now, if he does get a lengthy ban, which is expected, then he could come back a better player. He really could, even though he's a great player now, he could come back even better. And it is what it is, and hopefully he's getting the support, which he clearly is from Newcastle, because Eddie is backing him and his family, and that's the best. Honestly, you can't get any better than that. Hello, The Voice. Hello, everyone. Hi, Gary. Good evening. Good evening to you too. Right, I've just skipped a comment now. I'll go back to it. Tonali wants to play and he's trained well. I play him, to be honest, and show him more support. That's it. It's like I said, Eddie wouldn't play somebody who didn't want to play, plain and simple, or wasn't in the right frame of mind. He, as much as he cares for Tonali, look, not being horrible, his main priority is Newcastle United and what's best for the club, and he will do what's best for the club. And that's Eddie. Just think of his ACL injury without doubt. Yeah, it is. I mean, look, it's the one thing I'm going to talk about today is because I was going to try and get Steve's opinion on this as well. But obviously, we have got a lot of injuries, and Crystal Palace I'm shocked at how many injuries Palace have got, and they've got some big players out at the minute. Only Eddie will know if Sandro is right frame of mind, but I know he'll get a massive support from the crowd, so he'll be experienced that. Exactly. I mean, Eddie did say in his interview that he's expecting Tonali trained well, this, that, and the other, but he says you just don't know. He says that only Sandro can answer how he feels, but he says going off on a football basis, he looked great in training. So Eddie can only go off on football and speak to him. But deep down, I mean, if you want to know what a footballer's feeling, and you didn't realise at the time, go and watch the Beckham documentary on Netflix, because I'm watching it right now. And Beckham, although he hit it well, what happened in 1998? Deep down, he was struggling, and he was struggling badly. And you just don't know. Finally, play Tonali until we can't. Fair point. I Blade, how are you doing? Right, obviously it's the game, so I just want to go a bit brief on Tonali because I think next week we'll go up a bit more on that one. Obviously, when we hear the verdict, basically. Right, obviously Eddie's been talking in his press conference. Joe Willock, obviously. Me and Baz are big Joe Willock fans, and I think Joe Willock, we've been missing Joe Willock at times. Now, I know we've done well. I think we're second top goal scorers in the league behind Brighton. So we're scoring goals, but for me, we would just, like say if West Ham a couple of weeks ago, there's just little killer instinct missing. And that's what Joe Willock offers, just like that goal against Tottenham with his pass. But this is what Eddie said. I want him back, but we have to do it sensibly. He's trained this week for the first time with the group, but it's probably a bit early for him to be involved in the matchday squad. But he's getting closer. He's a huge player for us. I haven't got the picture, but I've just seen it. Joe Willock has put a picture on his Instagram with his football boots on and saying nearly there. So it's looking Joe Willock is close. My guess would be maybe the Champions League game, possibly. That's what I'm thinking, but you never know. He had a horrendous injury and you can't rush him back. That's the one thing I will say about him. On the good news, Joe Linton. Right. Basically, we'll hopefully be back this weekend. He's trained well and looked good. He's done a lot of work, so I'm confident as I sit here now that he's going to be okay, and hopefully he'll return to the form we know he can produce. A huge player for us. I heard a couple of days ago Joe Linton was fit and he will be playing, but I also heard what Sven Botman was fit. Now, obviously, I'll just go to that one there. Sven Botman is improving, and the 2 weeks have been good for him. Now, Craig Hope, I think it was Craig Hope, said he is still a doubt. Now, I heard he was fit. It could be Eddie Mind Games. I don't know. I heard Joe Linton was fit as well. Isak was a bit of a doubt, which we've got in there. But on to Joe Linton, I mean, I predicted at the start of the season Joe Linton would be player of the season. I love the guy. Absolutely love him. When he first came, I wasn't a fan of him. And I was one of those knackers who wanted him out, but that's because I know nothing about football. And so, but for now, Joe Linton is one of the key members of that team. And every time he's on the pitch, it's like you've got two players on the pitch. He's just phenomenal. Absolute. I've never seen a bigger change in a football player, and I've been watching football for 30 odd years. I've never seen a change in a player like that. And it was because he was out of position under Steve Bruce. Striker number 9. One thing, I'll tell you what, genius from Steve Bruce as per usual. But Joe Linton's so important. We all know that. And I think he will play tomorrow. I was going to put my lineup on, which I'll show you later on. Well, there's no point because I've went for the same lineup as Barca. So we'll put Barca's on and mine's exactly the same. There's no difference. Right, we'll go into the comments. But obviously, give us your opinion. Obviously, I know he's a happy Joe Linton's back. Would you start Joe Linton? I mean, personally, I would. And I think Joe Linton's fit is out. So as long as to me, he looked like he pulled a muscle at the time. So just be careful. And if he's not 100%, don't start him. It's not worth it. Honestly, it's not. But if he is, get him in. Recovering, how was you, Mogul? Hope you're well. Yeah, hope you're well. It'd be great to see you back on the show soon. Recovering, I had a nasty one a couple of weeks ago. Honestly, horrendous. The whole family had one. And Baz has been ill recently as well. Right. I think Eddie was bending the truth in this slightly in his presser. Yeah, probably because I've said it before. Eddie Howe's a liar. Plain and simply is. He lies all the time. And it's a good tactic in a way because you've got no idea what the lineup's going to be. Deep down, I mean, yeah, do you know what it is? I think I've only got the lineup right once this season because it's been different every time. I mean, nobody would have predicted Lascelles and Paul Dummett were going to be our two centre-backs against Man City at home. Nobody would have predicted that. So it's just take everything Eddie says with a pinch of salt. And if anybody did see the news the day as well, apparently Eddie's said he's not interested in the England job, which is fantastic. Do I think Eddie Howe will manage England one day? Yes, I do, but I think that's a long way away. I mean, even Darren Bent said it. Why would you leave Newcastle right now? It's one of the biggest jobs in world football with where the owners want to go, this and the other. Nobody's leaving Newcastle. I mean, I remember when Eddie took the job, nobody really wanted it. I'd like to see now how many managers would throw their name in the hat to take that job right now. There wouldn't be many people who wouldn't take it. That's for certain. It wouldn't be Eddie if he didn't blatantly lie. He does all the time. It's great, isn't it? It's a yes from me for Joe. Tier 7. Yeah, I agree. He would definitely be in my lineup. Any player providing he's fully fit and available should be considered and include Tier 7. I don't want players breaking down because they've come back too early, that's all. I completely agree. I'm not a fan of rushing players back. If the player's not 100%, don't risk him. There's no point. If he needs to be on the bench and play 10 minutes, do that. Callum Wilson's a prime example of not rushing a player back or playing him too often. And I've been a bit surprised Callum hasn't played as much as he has this season because Isak's really took the pressure off him. And But it just shows you that if you don't look after players, then people like Callum Wilson, you'd be lucky to get 12 games out of them a season at times. So yeah, I agree with that 100%. We will we miss Tonali at all? We play better with Shonyo, let him take 18 months to get to his level. It's a fair point. The way I look at it, the way is if Tonali had been playing and he wasn't missing potentially a year, then he would be up to scratch in a year's time. So I think it's a bit of a blow for him. And you know what it is? The last couple of games I've noticed at times, PSG at home especially, him and Bruno were starting to link, and I thought that's starting to click. And it's just unfortunate. It really is. And look, it seems to be a problem in Italy at the minute, and it's not just Tonali. It's a problem they've got at the moment, which needs sorting. But as for Sean Longstaff, look, Sean Longstaff would play every game of every minute for me. He's one of the key members of that team at this moment in time. Because if Sean Longstaff plays, Bruno's on his game, Joe Linton's on his game, Anthony Gordon's on his game, you name it, because Sean Longstaff does the dirty work that nobody else wants to do. I'm praying for Gordon to stay fit. He's been wonderful ray of sunshine in our squad this season. Pop in your comments about Anthony Gordon. Honestly, Kyle loves him. He's got them on the back of his top. I love Anthony Gordon. Me and Baz were big defenders of Gordon in the beginning. We knew there was talent there, and we've been proved right. He's back tomorrow. After his suspension, he will start. There's no doubt about that. And he's such a massive, massive player for that team now. And it's like Kieran Trippier said the other day, he's lightning quick. His pace is frightening. Absolutely frightening. And well, he couldn't agree more. We look absolutely class with him in our side. We do. Is Isak fit tomorrow? He was a doubt. Right. Pop this on. According to Eddie Howe, now this could be Eddie Howe mind games again. Eddie Howe and Alexander Isak. Alex hasn't trained with us yet, so we are going to leave it late to see if he's fit and available. So we don't know. Now, this could be Eddie Howe mind games again. It could not. Obviously, Isak got an injury at West Ham, which I don't know. I'm not sure what happened, but he did come off. And going Eddie Howe, he didn't want to bring Wilson on. He wanted Isak to play the full game. Now, I don't know. Are they trying to make a few tactics because he didn't go away with Sweden and they're trying to make it look like he hasn't trained? I don't know. But don't be surprised if Isak's on the bench tomorrow or he's in the starting lineup. Do not be surprised. Me too. Fantastic player this season. I hope he runs Palace right. Well, and do you know what it is? Anthony Gordon will give Kyle Walker a match. He gave Hakimi a match a couple of weeks ago. There's not one player in world football that Anthony Gordon will not give a match to. He's in for a game. Every time they play Anthony Gordon, plain and simple, they're in a game. Absolutely, Nelly. I didn't even want him originally. Can you interview earlier too? Les just had a little one. I'm seeing 18 months to get to Longstaff's level. All right. Well, to be honest, I mean, you know what it is? Sean Longstaff for me is in the bracket of David Batty, Paul Bracewell, that type of player who will never hit the headlines. He'll never be a world star, but what he offers the team is phenomenal. Now, Alex Ferguson said it best. He says you can have 10 superstars in your team, but you need a Darren Fletcher. And you kind of say more than that. You can have, I mean, look, I use this as an example all the time. You had Messi, you had Suarez, and I'm trying to think who the other one was. There was the three of them causing Neymar, I think, or someone. But they had Busquets. So there was always that man in the middle. Real Madrid had Bale, Ronaldo, you name it, Casemiro in the middle. There's always as I call them, they're like a battery. When you take them out of a remote, it doesn't work. So when you put Longstaff in the team works. Gordon will be buzzing to be back. He'll be full. I completely agree. Gordon's enjoying his football, and when a player's enjoying his football, say no more. And then I said, yeah, that's quick as out. Then I know Gary, the lads are building a team future. Geordie's all on their own. Well, there's Longstaff, Elliot Anderson, Lewis Miley. Got a bit. Eddie said something about Lewis Miley, and it's a bit. I'll tell you what, it's a bit nasty. Eddie already knows if Isak will play, and if I'm reading between the Eddie lines. You don't know Eddie could not. At least we know they're not stuck in front of a PlayStation and that. Even in all, sorry, I'm late. It's no problem. The mighty win. Think it depends on how long the ban is. We don't know regarding the ban. Obviously, we're going to find out soon. I don't think it's going to take long. I mean, look, I'm not an expert on this. I really ain't. And it's the one thing I will say is I think it's a bit of a joke how whether it's Ivan Toney, whether it is Sandro Tonali, whether it is Zanolo, whether it's another Serie A player, you can have a go at these players for gambling, but you're plastering every betting site around every ground in the country. Now, how can that be fair? How can that be fair? A player gets banned for gambling, but we're we've done it. We're funny idiot. And it's just one of those, you can't have a go at players and then plaster betting sites all over. Now, as far as I'm aware, Nelly can confirm this, I think betting's illegal in Saudi Arabia. So it's like in the Middle East. So it's, what can you do? You can't, if we want to help players, we can't plaster betting sites in them. It's like putting, to a gambling addict, it's like dangling a McDonald's Coke and chips in front of the kids. That's what it's like. It's ridiculous, and it needs quickening out of the game. On Tonali, I would say what happens in Italy stays in Italy, shouldn't be punished in the Premier League. You've got a fair point. Will it happen? I don't know. I don't think so, because they call them worldwide bans in house. So, but it is a fair point. And all the babies that haven't. Hi, dear. I think tomorrow the team will come like a wounded tiger and show. Yeah, I think so. I think the team's going to come out all guns blazing tomorrow, and I will show you later. But Palace are missing some big players. As I've heard, Joe Linton is making his own first 11. I wouldn't be surprised. 100%, Gary. Thank you. There's a lot of people saying hi in here. Right. Next one. This is the one I was talking about before. Lewis Miley. He's got glandular fever, so he's currently resting from that. He'll probably have a couple of weeks into 4 weeks of lower physical exertion, but then hopefully we can build him up. It's a blow for us and him because he's a real talent. That, I've never had it, but from what I've heard of a few people who have, it's horrendous. Now, when I saw he wasn't in the lineup for I think it was the young ones the other day, I thought, oh, well, it's on the bench at the weekend, but he's clearly suffering illness. Now, all you can say to that is rest up and get better, because but from what I've been told of people, it is horrendous. So get better to him, because honestly, he is a phenomenal talent, unbelievable. I've been seeing it for about 9 months now when I first saw him, and I watched a few of his games, and he's got everything. And Sean Longstaff, one about Sean Longstaff and Elliot Anderson, this kid could be next level. You're talking about, I'm not saying the same type of player here, but you're talking about the Declan Rice type. He could be that good. And fingers crossed. He's with the right manager, isn't he? Eddie Howe's a genius at getting the best out of players. Obviously, because Steve hasn't turned up, and I was doing a shorter show today anyway, because I've got to pick Kyle up at 9:15. I will mention something that I mentioned on a video a couple of days ago now, because obviously we're getting through the slides and stuff. I heard a few transfer rumours and stuff. I don't know if people saw videos or anything like that. Could be true, could be not. These are from people I speak to that I don't really know, but they just pass some info on every now and then. And I didn't mention these to Baz because I just like take some with a pinch of salt, but then they come in the news. A couple of them did anyway. Emile Smith-Rowe was mentioned. Now, that's not going to happen in January, but it's a possibility. They're looking at him now. Will Arsenal sell him? I don't know. Is he a talent? Yes. Will he get in our starting lineup right now? Probably not. Will Eddie turn him into a first teamer? Yes. So it's one of those with him. I think he's a very, very talented player. Now, will we get him? Don't know. But Eddie can get the best out of him, turn him into a quality player, that's for certain. The other one is Calvin Phillips. Now, I heard Calvin Phillips was a massive possibility this January. Whether that was loan or permanent, that's what I've heard. Now, it could be the normal smokescreen from Newcastle where we like put a player in the press, but that's not the player we're interested in. I've heard it time and again. And but I heard this one's a massive possibility. Now, I've heard Phillips is interested in the move, and what do I think on it? Right. I want to see the Calvin. If we buy him or get him on loan, I'd want to see the Calvin Phillips of the obvious lad who played the full tournament at England, right? Because the Calvin Phillips right now wasn't good enough against us the other week. Now, but I've said it before and I'll say it again, I trust everything Eddie Howe does at this football club. And if he wants Calvin Phillips, I'm fully behind him. Now, when I heard we're interested in Scott McTominay a couple of, like, beginning of the season, I thought, oh, bugger off him. And then when you hear Eddie Howe likes the player and you see what Scott McTominay's done for Scotland and Man United, you think, does Eddie just see something that nobody else sees? Because it's just, and Robson was like that. Robson saw something in players that nobody else did. And Eddie Howe's got that gift. And if he wants Phillips, I'm all for it. And the other player was a guy called Victor Boniface, who is a striker who plays for Leverkusen. Scored 7 goals. He's assisted 2 this season. I think he's only moved this season, but he looks like a quality player. Now, I didn't know much about him until, funnily enough, the kids were on the new FIFA game and they had him in that team and they went, oh, we're linked with him. He's mint on here. So I thought, well, I'll watch him a bit of him. He looks a decent player, like. I heard his name mentioned. Now, whether that's just the agent talk, I don't know, but it is a possibility. And I've heard Benjamin Sesko's name as well. We know him. We've spoke about him loads of times. Anyway, that was me just filling a bit of time in with a bit of info that I got. I don't get encouraged. Hope Tonali starts and crowd get right behind him. I think the crowd will get behind him, that's for certain. In this country, if an employee admits to an addiction, employers help the employee, not punish a bad YouTube employer has to treat you just well, that's it. It's like if you've got an addiction, like a gambling addiction, at work, you don't get banned for it. You get help. And look, I think he made a valid point. Paul Merson made a great point. He says banning players is no good for their mental health. For an addict, he says it's wrong. He says they need to keep their mind active. And he says banning somebody is just going to not help him. He says, yeah, he's done wrong. But it's like Merson was saying, can you not fine him? Can you not just shorten the ban? And things like that. And just it's a funny one because you could look at it other ways. I mean, I'm not going to mention like certain things, but some bans for some things aren't as high and lengthy as gambling. And some of them are worse than gambling. And we've seen them happen in the last year and a half. So it's what it is. Saps the body long term. Yeah, I know it. Well, I've never had it, but I've heard it's around. Glandular fever and dragon for months, and every once in a while, years affecting the energy levels. Fingers crossed it doesn't not showing his career. I mean, stop it a bit because I've heard it's horrendous. He's young enough to recover fully, Les. These guys have top mental teams, just like normal people can't even. Well, there you go, Blade. You've hit the nail on the head. I mean, we're probably giving him medication now to help him, whereas we couldn't. They would just tell us to go to bed and drink water. With respect to Calvin Phillips, surely would take the entire loan period to get him repaid, 100%, and that's a valid point. Maybe it's an obligation to buy. Maybe it's something like that, but. I've heard he's need to look, as much as Luke gets on my nerves and stuff like that. Luke's mentioned his name a few times in the last 2 years, and he was mentioned at Leeds, and he clearly prefers to stay in the north because he's a northern lad anyway. And it's look, if I had to bet, well, I'm just saying betting, shocking after what I'm talking about, but if I had to say, right, I'll do that. If I was this and that, he would be the guy I think we'll sign in January. I don't think we'll go stupid, but he is the one that I reckon we could end up with, especially if Tonali's ban is a long one. Eddie's rules: if a player scores 2, take him off after 15 minutes. So next time he scores 2, he'll go to score another immediately. Eddie scores, take him off after 15 minutes. So next time he scores 2, he'll bust a goal. But yeah, probably. But it's Eddie, isn't it? Eddie will always beds players in. I mean, Gordon took ages. Now he's a regular. Bruno, it took 9 games for him to get it. Greenwood, but it's a nasty infection. Quality of care must be important. But then again, Eddie got Gordon in mid-term, who only got pre-season, so who knows exactly. Heard both them players mentioned, but not sure if they were true. Yeah, Taribo. I did miss him, Blade. Yep. Taribo, I confirmed, Blade, is that January or is that next summer? Now, for anybody who doesn't know Taribo is a centre-back. Now, we have been, I tell you what, the amount of times me and Blade have mentioned Taribo to each other, or he's mentioned to me, non-stop. So there's clearly massive interest in him. Now, I think, you know what it reminds us of Sven Botman, this one. I think they're just waiting for the right time. And I don't think it'll be January. Blade may confirm different, but it could be the summer. Now, he's been linked with Man United as well, but at this moment in time, look, Man United fans are going to come out and go, we're the biggest club in the world. Why would you go to Man United over Newcastle right now? You know what it is? People will probably look at me and go, you're talking shit. But I'm not. Yeah, fair enough. Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, fair enough. Not them. I mean, especially after Radcliffe's getting in as well. Just going on loan for a stopgap. It could be a stopgap, but I don't think Eddie would get Phillips in as a stopgap. I think if Phillips comes, he'll want him here because he's clearly interested in him. Eddie is a mastermind manager, I think is my thought here. The Mbappe, etc., but they just don't fit in our squad. Yeah. Sorry, Eddie is a mastermind manager. Thing is, my thought you here for the Mbappe, etc., but they don't, and it's basically that's the way Newcastle work. I do think Newcastle will buy a star at some point because I think that they probably have to, because the superstars, they'll have the right attitude, right? Shearer had the right attitude and he was a star. Salah's got the right attitude, he's a star. At some point, Newcastle are going to buy a star. Now, this guy will be somebody who can sell shirts worldwide, because at the minute, we've got, look, we know we've got quality players. Botman, Trippier, Bruno, you name it, Isak. These are top quality players who could go far and beyond. But right now, no disrespect to them, but I know this is not important, but none of them are going to sell millions of shirts because they're classed as quality players. But then you get a star in. Now, the star has to be the right attitude, and the star's the guy you bring in who sells all the shirts, who's the number. Look, when Newcastle, it didn't matter how good they were under Keegan, Robson's time, everybody got Shearer on the back of that. It was just what it was. Every kid had Shearer on the back of their top, and everywhere I walk, around and see kids. They've still got Messi and Ronaldo on the back of their tops. It's that global star that sells the shirt, and at some point they're going to do it. Who that player is, I've got no anybody's guess. It could be Osman type, that type, but I just don't know. But he will have the right attitude. I don't know. I'd be underwhelmed, to be honest. But of course, what do I know? Yeah, well, look, if you'd have told me Calvin Phillips was coming, I would have said absolutely no. I didn't want it. But it's Eddie. I trust Eddie out now. I think Pep would have Phillips fitter than Gordon was at Everton. Loan maybe, but I'd rather spend money elsewhere. I kind of disagree with that, or agree with it. It's just, yeah, I mean, the money could. Would Calvin Phillips be my number one choice? No. Would I take him? Yeah, because I trust Eddie. I know now either. Fair point, Gary. Thank you. The FA can't get an offside, right? What chance do we stand with it? Yeah, well, somebody mentioned that in the a point the other day, and yeah, the 100% right. Yeah, 100%. The ban should be from playing matches, not from bloody training as well. These guys are 50 million like assets, being around the day-to-day stuff and training etc. Usually, yeah, it's ridiculous. Now, I mean, telling somebody they can't go and do something that they love doing is just like that's not going to help an addict, is it? Like to keep your mind occupied. I mean, when I need to keep my mind occupied, sometimes I'll pop a game on or I'll watch a TV show. If somebody told me I couldn't do that, it would make it worse for us. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. Not wrong, Davey. Heard you want this system now. Tame. Employment law, your employ master shoot your addiction just like in this. Do a ban may be illegal. Didn't know that, Chris. If gambling is punishable, then why not stop gambling altogether? They punish the addicts and leave the original cause of the addiction. I don't get gambling at all. It's something they want to stop in the game. But you know what it is? I've never seen so many sponsors for gambling websites in my life. The problem is Newcastle have been getting a few, they've got a few sponsors at the minute in gambling, which isn't helping. And I think at some point you might see them disappear in the next year and a half. I think them sponsors might disappear. Once we get the bigger ones, obviously delighted Saudi Airlines are in as well. Can't buzzing about that one. Mugler agree 100%. Good for mental health, being around teammates, training, talking, part of the club together. 100%. You need to keep your mind active, and you need to being with your teammates will help massively. Get back onto the slide soon. January, May could now be summer if we need totally replacement. That's why loans is on loan as an option, right? So Taribo's, I think Taribo's like a botman. Just like I've said, it's something they're interested in. They're just waiting the right time to trigger. No one loves Miggy more than me, but Mbappe for Miggy. Oh yeah, look, I love Miggy, but look, Mbappe wasn't at his best for me against us, but I think that's just because he's annoyed. He's paid off. Look, I would take Mbappe tomorrow. I would. You know what Eddie Howe's like? I don't care how big of an ego anybody is. Eddie Howe is a bloody good manager. And people will listen to him. It doesn't matter how big they are. Yeah, Mbappe will come in and go, I'm killing him. But you know what? How many goals would Mbappe score for our team? I mean, seriously, how many goals would he get? It would be insane. Like everything else, some people are making an awful lot of money from it. That won't change. Every advertised sports channel is mostly timely gambling related. Surely can just stay at home and watch the racing all day. Exactly, 100%. You are right. The elephant in the room thoughts did Milan know about this before the mud. I said that in a video. I think Milan knew, plain and simple. Did Tonali? Obviously, Tonali knew. I don't think Tonali did it to get the move, like a lot of people are saying. But I think Milan knew. I refuse to believe it. They didn't. I gave up gambling when I kept battling on the 2 to win when Cabbage. I gave up gambling when I kept betting on the 2 to win when Cabachid was back. Every time I say Cabachid, I'll laugh. You heard about Miggy Drive and getting it? Yeah, I've heard about that. I don't know much about it. And that's something, I mean, Joe Linton obviously has had that recently, so the club will deal with that internally. MGM Gaming have literally signed new sponsorship. Yep, there you go. I think they've got another one. Milan definitely knew 100%. Look, something that big that people have been getting, like saying how long they've been getting, 7 months in that. What? They just found out last week to then started doing bollocks. They've known for a while. There's been a problem in Italy for years. I remember years ago this getting mentioned. Milan knew, and they shipped their star boy off before. And I don't think Tonali was forced out of the club. I don't think that. I think they did everything they possibly could to save face for themselves to get us. I mean, I remember at the time thinking that's cheap for him, man. Now I know why. He wasn't given the ban for failing to disclose who was driving the Land Rover. Yeah, that was it. Like I said, I briefly saw it before I come on. With Miggy, think it was something to do with failing to give information. Yep, it's what somebody's just said. Milan knew before the deal, 100%. And what Gary said, right, let's get back on because we've got about 10 minutes. Because I've got to go and pick the Ben up. Right, Isak, if he plays. Isak has scored in each of his last 3 appearances for Newcastle United in the Premier League. The only Swedish player to score in 4 games in a row in this competition is Freddie Lundberg for Arsenal. Score. Let me just see his score. That's an interesting stat. Well, I didn't know. Look, Isak's probably one of the most underrated players in the Premiership, plain and simple. And you know what it is, in a year's time, people will know who Alexander Isak is, that's for certain. So, yeah, no. People will know who he is, plain and simple. And he's only going to get better. Now, I didn't know that stat at all, but it's a very, very interesting one. Right, these are Palace's injuries. What I was told, these are Newcastle's injuries, sorry, because Palace's are coming up. Obviously, Barnes is out. It says Joe Linton doubtful. No, Joe Linton will play. Botman doubtful. Isak. Kraft's obviously out, definitely. Murphy's doubtful, I'm surprised. And Joe Willock, obviously. Like I said, Botman could be mind games. Joe Linton's fit. Isak could be mind games. Jacob Murphy's a strange one. Do you know what it is? I think there's a problem with him at the minute because he's missed a few games. So he's clearly got an injury somewhere. And I'm surprised I haven't heard anything about him being out. So that's interesting. And I think Willock's back soon. I think he's confirmed that on his Instagram as well. He will be back soon. Going to skip it Baz's team for the minute. This is Palace's, if people didn't know. Tompkins, Schlupp, Henderson, but obviously the main two, Eze and Elise. Well, put it this way, Eze and Elise being out is like having, put it this way, it's like Bruno and Joe Linton being injured. They're massive, massive players for Palace, and them two being out is a huge boost for us. Huge boost. And Palace have got some bad injuries, and obviously I was going to ask Steve what he thought. He would probably just say, like, our reserves could beat you, then we. But obviously they've still got some good players. I mean, I actually rate Crystal Palace. I just think that they're mid-table. They're a mid-table team, but I actually do rate them. I think they've got some quality players, i.e. them two, Marky, Anderson, who we've been linked with. There's clearly talent there, and it will be a difficult game, but it will be much easier with them two being them. That's for certain. Right, pop in the comments what you think your lineup is going to be, or what you think the score will be. I'll give my prediction. But this is Baz's team, right? And the reason I didn't put mine up was because I've went for exactly the same lineup as Baz had, so there was no point in me putting mine up. when I saw it, I thought I'll just see what it is. I think from what I've heard, obviously Pope, Trips, Shaw, Lascelles, Byrne, Miggy, Longstaff, Bruno, Joe Linton, Gordon and Wilson, and that's exactly the lineup I went for. It could be more Eddie Howe mind games and Isak could start and Botman could be back. But I personally think if Isak has not trained much, Eddie will not play him. Plain and simple. Now, Callum Wilson's good, and he's a good player, Callum Wilson. So it's not like we're replacing him with a bad player. Now, I think Botman possibly would have been back quicker, or possibly tomorrow. But I think he's thinking the way Lascelles is playing at the minute, I might just give Botman another game. But the problem is, the more you keep doing that, the less match fit they get. But like I said, Sven Botman's a machine anyway. So, but that's my lineup. I've went for exactly the same one, and it's a strong lineup, and I'm happy with it. The midfield, I mean, for me, having Joe Linton back's just a massive boost, and Gordon coming back's just an even bigger boost for me because Gordon's just on fire at the minute. Right, this is the table. Obviously, we are in 8th position and Palace are in 9th. Obviously, Palace will go above with the win. But if you notice, I think a few of the teams have got some hard games. So, like, Brighton play at Man City tomorrow. So, we could go up to 16th and we could jump some places with a victory tomorrow. And it's going to be an interesting one because I think there's some interesting games tomorrow where we could go up some spaces. Funnily enough, Baz has put the odds on for the game. We're going on about betting and he's put the odds on for the game. I think it says Palace 6-1. That's a canny price. But it just shows you we are 9-20 and 7-2 for the draw. Look, I'd lie if I knew much about betting. I don't. I've hardly ever bet in my life. I bet on one horse for £1 and the one time I didn't put a bet on was when I thought Tony Bellew was going to beat David Hay all them years ago. And David Hay was something like 20-1 on, and Bellew was like 10-1. And he hadn't fought for 3 years, and Bellew was champion at the time. And I thought, Bellew was going to knock him out. And I was going to put 20 quid on it, and I didn't. Big sake. But anyway, I still regret that one now. I'll just pop in the comments. I'm going to give my prediction. So I have to nip off soon. There must have been, are you aware the reason closing both? I think there was. Milan linked to the mafia for years. The gambling sites are owned by the mafia. Italian specials are currently clamping down on the mafia's legitimate business. That doesn't surprise us either after what that Juventus player said. Because he come out and said that one of the websites he was on was linked to that. So, not good. Vardy scored 11. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, he did. That's why I was shocked with that. Vardy did score 11 in a row. That's why I was a bit confused because I didn't know that. I'll have to double check on that one because he did. And I remember him breaking it against Man United. Tonali took one of his beloved Milan, so both of them have the two. He'll be back at Milan after the ban. I think Milan have. I'm not sure about him, but you just don't know, do you? You don't know what goes on behind the scenes. Personally, I think Tonali come because he wanted to, but I could be wrong. I don't know. We don't know that yet. They had certainly crossed my mind, Gary. It's all been a scam to save them money. Milan have definitely knew about this. 100. I refused to. I think his agent knew as well. I think they were all in on it. But I don't think necessarily Tonali is disappointed that he come. I think he was happy, but I think Milan have done it. And you know what is? Newcastle are geniuses when it comes to the legal side. And they will be looking at everything right now. And if they get an inch that something like that's happened, they'll go straight in. Don't think he'll be back at Milan after his ban. The lad will want to repay the faith. Hopefully he does, but we'll just have to see, won't we? Look, Tonali's either going to go one of two ways here. He's going to go back home and be a very good player in Serie A, or he's going to be a Newcastle legend. Now, it's going to go one of two ways. And I'm 50-50 on both. where I think what will happen. Will be too much for them tomorrow. 3-0. That's exactly the score I've went for. 3-0. Davey 100% due to process important. 3-1. 5-0 us. Get in blade. Zian Lissy out. Meals the low block. 2-0. I think they will low block, but I think 2-0 seems to be popular. I think we're good. We score goals now. Gordon being back's massive, and you know what it is when you've got somebody like Bruno Guimaraes, anything's possible. Used to concern me with the boots when I was 6, and it was back in the old days, you know what it is. Great, isn't it? I predict we doing at that Villa tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised, man, because we're very good at home. And I think with the injuries they've got, I think you've got to remember though, Palace are good at the back, right? That's the one strength. They've got Anderson and Gay, they're good players, right? So I think Hodgson's going to come and try and get a draw. Now, this is where we need to see if we can break them down. If we break them down in the first 5 minutes, we could win 4 or 5 now. We'll support all our players until we know exactly. But you know what they say, innocent and proven guilty. My headmaster at junior school sent me a new ins about the cigars under the employment. Now maybe legal to ban him. Yeah, no, well, you know what ours are like, a class on there. Was so sick of the bloody journalist Gordon Eddy in a tone about negative stuff. Hardly any questions about Palace. Eddie looked, yeah, well, I knew that was going to happen. It was all about Tonali, and it was just like, you know what it is, we're playing Palace tomorrow. But you know Eddie will defend his player, he'll go on with it, he'll come back, and he'll only concentrate on Palace. He'll just play the media like he always does. Mugler history teacher. Players Villa did, and need to make we'll get Nick DeMarco back on it. Right, obviously the show didn't go as a plan, but I can talk Aldi about football. So I'd just like to thank everybody for joining us. We will be doing a review of the game. Now we have had a bit of good news where I'm going to be able to finally start being able to watch the matches properly and communicate and everything like that, so which is a massive bonus for me. But it's not starting tomorrow. So as for the watch along, don't know yet. All depends if I can get a few things sorted out. I will be doing the review of the game, that's for certain. But soon the games will not be a problem. And I'm going for 3-0. I've always been confident. I think more than one for last season because of that disallowed goal, which still pays us off now. But anyway, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, follow Diet Grow. Quality merchandise, much appreciated. It really helps the channel grow. You're all tuning in, commenting, subscribing. It's massive, big thank you to everybody. And I will see you tomorrow. Thanks.